Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to this special episode because it's not just me, it's always me, but this time I have my sister and I'll tell you why I'm doing this video because over the years I've seen that after the video I did with Enoch, a lot of people have seen that video and a lot of people have been commenting and I see the struggles and I thought that, okay, if I cannot get an Enoch again to come and share practical steps, why don't I get someone who I see that, went through, a course that I consider a hard course. Tell me I did the course so I know and had a good social life, had all of those things and came out well. So I have with me my sister. I would have done the introduction, but I'll allow her, introduce herself. She has done so many amazing things after school, right? And she has succeeded at all of them. So I have today my elder sister, Peace. Welcome again to the channel.
I'm so excited to be here. I feel like it's been a long time.
Yes, very long.
Good to be back. Hi, everyone.
Alright, so please introduce yourself.
Okay. Wow, I feel like one of the hardest questions for me is introduce yourself, but I'll try. So my name is Peace Ojonuyo Odo. I am first of all a child of God. Never, you can't compromise that. I'm a child of God. I am a children's church teacher. I teach kids the word of God. I believe that one of my purposes is to bring salvation to children. And professionally, I am a data analyst with over 5 years experience. I currently work in a financial institution. I also teach data as well. And yeah, I have 2 sisters, 2 lovely sisters. One of them is seated right here. So that's about it.
Alright, so we're going to get straight into the video, right? So, you studied biochemistry.
Yes, I did.
You came out with a good grade and you did not have any carryover.
Yeah.
And I know that it's not alien, but to me it is. It's like, to me it's different because that was not my story, right? And even the fact that I had somebody there, but I didn't like it as much, but I know that, I don't know if you liked it. I don't know your own story per se, right? All I know is that you used to read. That's one thing I'm sure about, and that's one of the things you tell us. So, first of all, let's start from the beginning. How did you find, your 100 level? How did you find school? Was it very difficult for you when you started? And I know and I'm aware that your secondary school, the background wasn't really, really great.
Yeah.
So, but how were you able to still, how did you find that beginning?
Thank you so much. So I'll be very honest. 100 level was a struggle for me. We had to do math, we had to do chemistry, we had all the calculus and all of that. And it was quite a struggle because of course the background from secondary school wasn't as great as it was supposed to be. So for 100 level, we had to do all of those foundations, right? So I struggled a lot. But even in the struggle, a lot of people still said I did well. So I read a lot in 100 level. So I know that my first semester had a 2.95 over 5 and my second semester had a 3.43 over 5. But with the way I read, I could have been on a 4 points, right? But it was because I had to struggle, learn all those. There was a lot of concepts I didn't know, which they believe that you're supposed to know already. But I didn't know all of those concepts. So it was quite a struggle, right? And then another thing so I feel like you get to just navigate and understand yourself. Another thing that happened in the 100 level as well, I think it's my phone.
Okay.
Another thing that happened in the 100 level as well was that I felt like I'd read enough before exams. So I wasn't doing revision before my exams because I felt like I'd read so much. So that was another thing that I know. So 100 level I could have done better.
So at what point do you start reading? Do you start reading once the semester starts?
Yes. So for 100 level, I started reading once the semester starts, right? But then I didn't do revision towards exam because I just felt like, I'd read enough already. So I now felt, so when I got to second semester, and I felt like when I was in my first semester, I was reading every day and I still did not have the kind of score I wanted. I said, I beg, I'll read close to exam because I realized that I'd forgotten a lot before exam. That's because I did not revise. I did not understand the essence of revision. So when I got to second semester, I didn't read when the semester started. I started reading close to test, close to exam, and I did better. So I now told myself when I got to 200 that, if I can combine these two, I will do great. Start reading before once the semester starts, and then do a lot of revision even when the semester has gone, even when it's close to exams. And that was what did it for me. By the time I was in 100 level, by the time I was in 200 level first semester, I had 4 A's and 2 B's. I had a 4.25.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So there was some sort of analysis, like, okay, what is happening? How do I make it better?
Yeah, so I'm that kind of person that analyze a lot.
Yeah.
How can I like to do more, like I like to plan. If I do this, I'll get this result. If I do this, I'll get this result.
And that's why we're doing this video, because some people just need to know what to do.
Yeah.
Right? If they know, if I do this and do this, right? Different things work for different people, but there's always like a framework that people should work with. So I'd like to ask about your association. How important is having the right, because I knew that you had friends and people that you would read together and things like that.
Yeah.
So how important is having the right association, you know, in your academics?
Yeah, so funny thing is, it's hard for you to influence me, right? I influence other people. And I think that was really great for me, because I had friends who would tell me that, oh, thank God you're my friend. If we're not my friend, oh my God, I'll just be partying and partying. So I had friends that they party a lot, but they know that when it comes to peace, peace is the serious one. She likes to be serious, right? So I didn't really like to go out a lot. So I can't really say much about influence, because it's hard for you to influence me, right? I'm my own person. I have a very strong personality. So it's hard for you to influence me. Even my parents will tell you, is that thing that is in her mind that she will do?
But then you had a group of people
one thing I did, you know, which helped me was peer-to-peer learning, right? Like I told you, I didn't really have a good foundation.
Yeah.
So what I did was I would identify people that know that thing. Yeah. So if I know that you're good at chemistry, you're gonna be my friend.
Right. So that you have to be humble.
Yes.
From other people.
Of course, you have to be humble. So there are people that I call. So when you start teaching me, I call you Oga. I know I had Oga GB, Oga Josh. So Oga Josh will teach me chemistry. Oga GB will teach me math. So I had all those kind of people that helped me. So I didn't mind. I had there's this one of my friend Abdul Basit. He's now in Norway. Abdul Basit would teach me chemistry or math. So I had all these people. I would spot them. They became my friends, the scholars of our class. And when I had issues, I'll go to meet them to teach me, and that also really helped as well.
Okay, so just give us a routine.
Of
how your life was.
I think it would really help. Okay, so one of the things that helped me was creating a timetable, right? So plan your lectures. Another thing is you don't need to. I don't know if I don't want to give bad advice, but one of the things, you need to understand yourself. Let me start from there. Yeah. You need to understand yourself. So what helped me in 200 level was I now understood myself. Night class was not for me.
Awesome. I love it.
Night class was not for me.
That for me.
And I came into terms that, ask my sister, I can't sleep. I like to sleep. Night class was not for me. I came to terms with the fact that night class was not for me. So I stopped night class completely. So what I do is I had a timetable. So for instance, let's say, because I did biochemistry, let's say I had BCA 201, Chem 201, and let's say physics on that particular day. What I'll do is I would make sure that I read the notes in the evening, right? So when I come back from classes that day, I'll read in the evening. Another thing was when I got to 200 level, I was diagnosed with migraine, right? So a lot of things, stress would trigger the migraine and all of that. So I wasn't staying for late classes. Okay. So if I had a class from maybe those 4 to 6 classes, I don't stay for them. So sometimes maybe your classes end by 2, you have break 2 to 4, but anything other than 2, I don't stay at school. Once it's 2 o'clock, I come from morning till 2, I pack my things and I go home. Because I didn't want to have a migraine because it would make me unproductive, right? So I will go home and start reading the notes I already had for that day. Then maybe when my friends come back, I pick up their notes, I copy it, and then I read what they had taught them, right? If I can get a recording of the lecture, I get a recording of the lecture, I listen to it. But then it was better off than me now having a migraine and had to battle it for days, right? That's why I'm still talking about understanding yourself. So I'll not say I must be in school for that lecture. It's not going to be productive for me. It would not make any sense for me. So that's another thing that I did. So I had a timetable that followed my school timetable to make sure that I read it that same day. Then what I do is weekends, I do so weekends I wasn't even reading. I was reading during the week. So weekends I can go out, visit my friends, go for church programs. But during the week, I must read extensively, read till 10. But then it was better because I wasn't lagging in any subject. I was reading all my subjects equally. And then when it came to, so I realized that when it was getting to test or exam time, all I had to do was just revision. So most times I can, when it's now maybe test, I can read till 10 p.m. and then I will sleep and I wake up by 5 a.m. to revise. And that revision is like magic wand because everything is just entering. Yes, everything is just entering your head. So that was the perfect. That's what I used till I graduated, and I was on a 4 point.
Yeah.
Till I finally finished.
All right. Okay. So we're almost done. And can you remember? Did you ever have a scare like for a course, like in this course I'm not sure?
So there was a particular course, people that did biochemistry or chemistry will know carbon ion. So there was carbon ion, everybody was scared of carbon ion. We even called the lecturer carbon ion because of how scary it was. I know that it had to do with chemistry, mixing, and then in Nigeria, we won't do those things in the lab.
Yes,
they want you to be able to draw the structures and do all of those things by yourself. So it was quite difficult. So because of how scared I was of carbon ion, what I did was I read carbon ion every single day. So in my timetable, you will find, I think it was Chem 301. You find Chem 301 every single day. I read carbon ion more than the other subjects.
But yes, you were still scared, right?
So it was the fear that made me read it that much. Okay. Because I didn't want to.
So I'm asking, at the end, when you're waiting for results, right?
I can't fail, no.
Okay, that's what I was asking. I didn't have anything, not at all.
No, it was in 100 level. I was scared that I was going to fail thermodynamics. That was the part I was scared of because it was quite difficult, right? And that was the one I was scared of, and I had a C, 50 on the dot. Wow. But from then on, if I'm scared of a course or somebody says that, I start reading it very hard. So I'm not scared. So my results, my fear is, am I going to get all A's? I didn't want to have C's.
Yeah, okay.
So A's and B's. So my fear is, I don't want to have a CO. Okay. But scared of failing now. I didn't ever feel that I'll fail. Yeah.
Awesome. So we're ending now, and this is the last, it's not a question, but it's to somebody out there who is struggling or who has a lot of responsibility. Some people are into leadership. Some people are doing church programs, just all of these things. So just in your own point of view, how can they balance all of this so that they come out with a good grade?
Okay, so I feel like one of the best advice my dad gave me, which I took to heart, is you need to remember that at that stage of your life, your primary focus, your primary goal is your education, right? So as much as it's beautiful to be in student activities, to be in church leadership, you need to remember that the primary reason why you are there in school is for your education. So my point is your education to take priority. Like I said, during the week, I would take extensive time to read. There are times where I went for midweek services, right? But then you will not see me not going to church on Sunday or not visiting my friends, but so it just goes to tell you that my first priority was my education because that's what was, so just, you have to make sure that you prioritize your education. That's the primary reason why you're there. So that should be your major focus. If you're struggling, maybe you have carryovers. The best way to go about your carryovers is to make sure you attend those classes. You need to treat your carryover like you treat your normal course. So go back. I know it can be shameful, but you need to just summon up courage, go for those classes, read it up, put it in your timetable like you would prioritize your other courses, and you see that you pass it. In fact, you can ask those people, your juniors, for help. If there are classes they are attending, attend those. In fact, my point is put in more effort than you did the first time, so that you don't fail it again and you hit it on the head.
Thank you so much for this such
welcome.
Insightful and interesting conversation.
You so much.
I hope you learned you're welcome. I hope you learned one or two things, and I hope that you put it into practice, because all of this will just be a dream if you do not actually execute. All right. So till we come in way next time. Bye. Bye.